Welcome back to the train room. It's time for another unboxing. Let's get right into it. Here's a locomotive. It's a Mantua post-war Camelback. Very cool. And going by everything, looks pretty intact. Boy, that's pretty stiff. Not sure how it's going to be on the performance test, but aesthetically, it looks really good. See how the tender is? Little pieces of coal came up, but that's no big deal. Yeah. Everything looks good. I mean, I expect it to be pretty dusty and all that, so yeah, a little bit of crud. But this is pretty amazing. I did some research and it doesn't look like there was anything that was on the top here, so it doesn't look like anything is broken off or missing, so everything looks good. Yeah. Really curious to see how this is going to be on a performance test, because this is, while it looks pretty good, that is a very stiff drive right there. Let's see what that looks like. This is a pretty cool display piece. It's pretty amazing to have a model this old and still relatively intact. I have another Mantua model from this era, but it's missing parts. That one does run, so hopefully the same can be said for this one. So let's give this a try. Thought there was like a little bit of rumbling, a little pulse. Anything? And just to make sure it's not the locomotive. Yeah. Well, I think it might be either dead on arrival or there's just no connection, but it's not moving and there's no short. So I'm going to go ahead and see what the issue is. So I'm going to disassemble this and go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and see what the fuss is all about. So I'm going to remove the main screw here, assuming that takes apart the shell and the mechanism. Yeah, that's right. These older ones did have the stack can be removed. Okay, so making some progress there. Okay, so I have to remove the smokestack. There we go. And that's pretty much it. Relatively simple. And no, it's not seized up at all. It's perfectly fine. So I'm almost wondering if it just might be either the motor is really bad or if it's just there's a misconnection somewhere. I don't know. That could be original tape. I'm unsure about that. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get this cleaned up and see what the problem is. As far as I can tell, everything looks fine. And going by the brushes, yeah, this thing has been ran before. Ooh. You don't want to see green on a brush. It's kind of indicating of maybe it's not exactly the nicest locomotive to handle, but I'll go ahead and get this cleaned up and see what happens after that. So first I'm going to clean up the commutator, the brushes, and then I'm going to probably remove this bottom plate, clean off the axles and the bearings, and see if that does anything. Interesting so far. I gotta say, so far, everything in this looks really clean. I mean, the commutator was pretty filthy, but that's now a lot better already. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint what exactly is wrong with this. I just think it's like there's a disconnect somewhere. So, time to carry on. So I'm gonna lubricate this area a little bit later, but I've gotten that all cleaned up, and the wheels and axles are oiled, and now I'm gonna go ahead and recharge the magnet on this thing. And then it's really just a process of elimination, because I'm going to be able to test run it after that, because again, I can't find anything really wrong with this. There just must be some kind of disconnect. For all I know, it could just be the integrity of connecting the wire there to the pole. But yeah, so far it's been a breeze to work on. So I'll be right back. I'm going to recharge this magnet off screen and see what happens. Here I am a couple of days later, finally got around to it. As you can notice that there is a new piece of tape here. Yes, that means this locomotive is no longer 100% OEM, but I'll tell you what, if there's one piece to be replaced, let it be the tape. I know. Anyway, I've gotten that replaced after I've recharged the magnet on here, so that way it's able to have a lower current when it's operational. But yeah, everything on this looks really good to go, so I'm going to go ahead and put the shell back on and see what that turns out as. Now the tender's been kind of interesting. Doesn't seem to really have any major issues, but I noticed that with all the cleaning I've been doing, it's like these wheels, they have a really dull finish. I think it's like they're painted over, like I can tell, like obviously the sides of the wheels, they're painted, but it's almost as if these, you know, around there, they're all painted up, so I'm wondering if that might have an effect on the picking up. But I've disassembled all of this. I've sort of cleaned up this contact behind there, and everything is pretty good. I don't really see anything really wrong. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this, and we'll see what it's like. Alright, I'm back. Now I did have to make an additional adjustment. I had to add more of that tape along the top of the motor, because the old tape was covering that, and without that extra tape on there, it was shorting out a little bit, so that's been resolved. So let's take a look at the final result. Here we are at 40. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. It's not the most efficient right now, but hopefully that drops when it further warms up. But it's certainly a lot better than what it was, because beforehand it wasn't even running at all. And here, it's running just fine. I'd say that's pretty good for an 80-year-old locomotive, and when I was recharging that magnet, it felt really weak. So I think that's pretty good considering all the circumstances, and hey, hopefully it gets a little bit better here. It's a little bit jumpy now. Well, that pretty much concludes this restoration for now. I'll continue running this to further smooth it in, and while it may not be the perfect runner right now, I'm really happy to see that it went from not running at all the way to running around the inner loop here. Pretty awesome to have that, especially a locomotive that is 80 years old. It's pretty impressive, and all it took really was some cleaning and lubrication. I don't know the last time this locomotive had any work done to it. So it was a little bit dirty under there and it was pretty dry, but I'm sure the locomotive now is a lot happier. And even if I don't run it a whole lot, it is pretty awesome to have this as a shelf queen because of its history and it's overall a really good looking little locomotive. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and I hope to put out more videos kind of documenting restoring some of these locomotives. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.